Why is my head so big? All right, well, I just had a complete computer malfunction there.
It's unusual for you.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good timing, too.
Why is my office on? Alexa, turn off the office. Sounds like a kettle.
Where is this thing? Come on. Blur my background. That's terrible.
What is that noise coming from your side?
Oh, that might be a fan. Here, sorry. Let me, did that fix it?
Nope.
Is it coming out of the mic?
I don't know. I'd appreciate to never hear those noises again in my life.
I wish. Jeez, it's like I need to back up 5 feet from the laptop. I don't know what to do. I don't know.
Welcome back, everybody, where things are just working as usual, and Paul is definitely not laying on a... Oh, no. You couldn't time that up any better. You couldn't time that up any better.
It just, it froze.
Well, it said connection interrupted.
Oh. Probably my fault.
Yeah, I think we're going to assume that.
At this point, I'm going to take that out so I can actually hear. I don't know what just happened here, Brad. I had a complete hardware malfunction. I don't know.
Was it the hardware up here or like the hardware?
A little bit of both. A little bit of both.
I tried to call Paul and he kept saying one more minute. I give up.
I literally looked at the clock and it was 12:57.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "Oh, I should probably make sure that this Skype video thing is set up correctly." And I went into Skype video settings and it said, "No microphone found." I'm like, okay,
good start.
I'll reboot. And I rebooted, and then it wouldn't work at all. So I'm going to go figure that out later.
Sounds like a good Friday afternoon activity. Just
by later I mean Sunday.
And by Sunday he really means Monday morning at about 10:58, right before I call him.
Like, right, it's like, oh, we got to do that. Oh, shoot. Yeah,
And to Mr. REA Electric, it says, use Teams. Well, until Teams supports Skype Federation, which supposedly is coming in the first half of next year.
Yeah.
That is not really a possibility until that happens.
I mean, there are definitely other things we could use.
Yeah. But
I will say, because we use this every day and I use this with Windows Weekly, like I find it slightly irritating when you have to use like a different thing that's the same, that performs the same function as something you already use, I
mean, Skype works. That may not be Skype's fault. Might just be Windows.
Right. Oh, no, I'm pretty sure it's not Skype's fault. I think it's my computer. There's something horribly wrong with that computer.
So we've got that going on, which is convenient because there's not a lot else going on today. It's been a pretty...
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to say it, but you wrote a pretty decent article about a version of Windows called Android that never came to be.
Asteroid.
Oh, was it Asteroid? I thought it was Android. Man, that was going to be a lot more fun to talk about.
Sorry. So that came up. I forgot I had this stuff. Like I have Microsoft's internal planning documents for Cairo and for those 3 versions of Windows NT. I forgot I had them. So the Cairo article I had written, a couple of weeks ago, whenever that was not written with that information at my side. So I'm going to go back and revisit that because I noticed a couple of things in there that would be kind of nice to add to the article. But I've always been fascinated by that kind of stuff,
Sure.
the direction. There's a lot of this stuff in Microsoft's history too, not just Windows, but certain directions they were going to go in or started down. Like the Visual J++ is like that. That is, I mean, I feel like nobody cares about this topic, and I don't mean to bore people, but
I do.
no, I mean the Java J++ thing specifically, but I mean this very honestly. Like, that was some of the best work that Microsoft ever did. And it's weird because it was, obviously they did it to screw Sun and to, divide Java. But it's very clear that the people at Microsoft who had to make the Microsoft version of Java and to make the developer environment saw how awesome this language was. And they, it's amazing. So it's like, for people who dismissed Visual Basic because it was kind of a toy language, the second version of Visual J++ was Visual Basic, but with a sophisticated programming language. Like, it's astonishingly good. It's excellent. And I was a big Delphi guy, and one of the attractions to Delphi was the sophistication of Object Pascal and the elegance of their framework, which was the VCL, the Visual Component Library. This is just as good. And I don't think it's gone. It was only in the market for a couple of years, It's just gone.
Just gone, just like that. Just like your color.
I know.
What laptop are you using?
Surface Book 2.
It's not a good. Your the white balance, maybe it's, I don't know.
I think what it is when you come on screen, it changes the tone of the light hitting my face, and so the camera's trying to adjust. Stupid. It's doing it poorly.
Yeah.
Also, I'm not sold on the blur background thing.
Yeah. Well, you're going to be able to replace it soon with like beach scenes and.
Yeah, that's going to make it excellent. That's what I need.
We can put you in a library.
Surrounded by Visual J++ books.
You could do every podcast from an Apple store if you wanted.
I like that. Yeah, I like the subversive nature of that.
Yeah, there's not a lot going on other than Apple discontinued its book of its own pictures of its own stuff. I mean,
the most quintessentially Apple thing ever. Well, the credit card maybe is.
See, what would be great is if you use the credit card as a bookmark as you're just thumbing through that thing.
No, I think there's a warning about using it near paper. There is today, of course, is the day that the Note 10 becomes available.
Oh, yes.
It's also the day you can pre-order I think it's called a Tab S6 tablet, which is like an iPad Pro type device.
Rolls off the tongue.
Yep. So, yeah. I mean, we'll see. Like I said, I think yesterday, I'm switching up the 10 for the 10 Plus. So hopefully, I don't actually have to wait weeks and weeks for that to happen. But I feel like I could walk into a store and just buy it today. But of course, the advantage of what I'm doing is the trade-in and
not spending all those dollars up front.
Yeah, exactly.
So fun. There was something else that was going on too, and I cannot remember. It was that important.
It's really nothing. I mean,
oh, I don't know. My wife came home yesterday and asked if we were getting an Apple Card, and I told her to get out of the house.
Nice.
That was after she texted me a picture of a supercharger that was at the Costco.
Yeah, what is the point of that?
So you can go do your shopping and get your car charged.
No, of her sending you a picture of it. Is she mocking you? I mean,
No, she knows that I want a Tesla at some point in my life. And so, yes, it's basically her just mocking me. I mean,
that's hurtful.
Yeah. And then I told my daughter that my car currently runs on dead dinosaurs, and she's like, that's not nice. They have feelings or had feelings.
Did they?
We don't even know. They were giant feathered birds.
Yeah. I guess birds probably have feelings.
I bet they tasted like chicken. I mean,
oh, man.
There's just... What's going on in the chat room, folks?
Wow.
Paul is laying somewhere. Paul needs some Grecian 2000.
Yeah, I
don't even know what that is.
Grecian, it's like a hair formula thing. I think it doesn't make. Is it like for gray hair or just to keep it like slicked back or something? I don't even know.
Slicked back, like
You know what I mean? Like
there is a parent in my daughter's class
Mm-hmm.
that if you were in Cincinnati, you'd be like, "That's Andrew Zarian." Like it is. It is. I was like, "Where's the
Right.
what is that?" Like,
does he wear a black tuxedo?
oh yeah. Well, like like dead on. The only thing that's missing is just the wrestling podcast, I guess, and then it would be Andrew. I mean, that's
Well,
I did
I
like
often see people who look like Andrew. Like we'll be out in the world somewhere, and I'll be like, "Oh, there's the Andrew Zarian of insert name of place." You know,
my wife's like, she's like, "Why are you staring at him?" Like, I need to talk to him. I need to find out if Andrew he's related because it's yeah. There are other things going on, such as if you there'll be a link I think down below if I remember to do it. If you want some free throughout premium, there's that offer going on, which you can find the details of.
yeah, right. Yeah, I was looking through the Ask Paul thing for later today, and someone asked me about that programming Windows series and whether it would be turned into a book, and that's something that we've now kind of talked about officially. And yeah, I mean, yes, and I don't know how or when. Honestly, it's going to be. I mean, I'm not even halfway through it, right? So I don't know I don't know what the timing can be, or maybe it will be like a part 1, part 2 kind of thing. I'm not really sure, but I guess the other thing I feel. No, let's hold on to that. I was going to say something else, but yeah, because this isn't just a premium thing. This is for everybody. So
Yeah.
yeah, but anyway, yes. So if you're not a premium member, I guess you'll be able to read the series in book form. I mean, you'll have to pay for it, but it's not going to be like, how much do you charge for your book, the Surface book?
$10, I think.
Yeah, it's going to be something like that. It's not going to be expensive.
Yeah, that'll be to be determined, right? That'll.
Yeah,
I mean, just because you don't know when you're going to be done. He's literally writing it chapter by chapter, which is how you typically write a book. I mean, that's not crazy, but
yeah. And what the thing is, so so we were just kind of talking about this earlier. So the thing that's interesting about this to me, other than the obvious stuff, is, as you go, like, yeah, I mean, it's sort of roughly writing it in order, but the truth is, like, every once in a while something will pop up and I'll be like, oh, this kind of belongs back, with something I did a long time ago. So that happens,
Oh yeah.
I do little like really super simple, like stupid code things. If I'm talking about a programming language or whatever, and I had done that for JavaScript. And then after I wrote about Internet Explorer, it kind of occurred to me, I need to have a basic article just about HTML and probably about CSS. And that should have come before JavaScript, because that would be the natural progression. So I probably will fill that stuff in as I go. But, I mean, I go through my own archives, and obviously I'm going through things on the web. I'm doing a lot of research for this stuff. And every once in a while, you just pop up with something and be like, oh, geez, this would have been helpful, 2 weeks ago or whatever. But that's the nice thing about it, because if you think about it as a book, it wouldn't matter when you wrote something. It's just weird because I'm doing it kind of live on the web. So I know for people who are interested in this stuff, I guess it's just it's just the natural way of things. If you write even a basic article, like a news story on the web, you might write it from top to bottom, like I do.
Yep.
But you'll, as you go, sometimes you kind of go back, like, oh, this needs to be up here, and then you just extrapolate that out. I mean, a book is hundreds of pages. It's going to be, you can't start with intro and then the end.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work that way.
It never does. It's always good in practice, but never in theory.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that Google's creepily listening to this podcast.
Oh, but
in the and granted, we are pumping this through YouTube, so they're probably. I'd be amazed if they are doing real time scraping of our audio to do suggested videos. But that being said, right now, up next on the autoplay playlist, video number 1 is visualbasic.net search and access database. Next one is programming in visualbasic.net how to access, and then something or other.
That's crazy.
It really is.
Unless you've been secretly studying Visual Basic on the side and I don't know about it.
I can't say that I am.
No, but that's crazy, right? There's an article in the New York Times today about this topic. Somebody, as part of a months-long experiment at the Times, ran a version. I guess there's a special Firefox version that details all of the tracking that occurs. And it's everyone sort of understands like we're being tracked, and this type of thing you're talking about, which is actually a really crazy example of it.
Yeah.
I don't think people understand the extent of it, and and even I sort of didn't. I mean, I don't remember the name of the article, but it's in the paper today, or I'm sure it's on their site today. But it's incredible, like the web of tracking that occurs across sites, and interestingly, like news sites like the New York Times are among the worst offenders. And it all has to do, obviously, it has to do with advertising. Like the goal is you want to attract people to products that they're going to like. So I randomly mentioned Visual Basic, and now you're getting Visual Basic ads.
No, the only thing I have been watching in significant amount is trying to learn about vapor barriers when you're doing a basement. Apparently, Paul, this is a controversial subject. Not everybody believes that you need a vapor barrier along the walls in a basement. So
is this tied to the radon thing? Like some people think this is the worst possible problem, and some people doesn't mean anything.
I don't know. It's just some people are like, you don't need it. The house will, in a properly ventilated basement, it's fine. They're saying you need to be more worried about airflow. I don't know. We will. I
think if you're going to spend time in this, like my daughter sleeps in the basement, and my dad, at one point, well, he was the person that did over that part of the basement, so I know it wasn't done correctly, and I worry about air quality down there for sure. Like it's something I actually really worry about. Like not in her actual room, but this kind of it used to be an office, I guess, and we use it as just an exercise room, but it's kind of between the bathroom and the bedroom now. And I put like a dehumidifier down there, and my God, that thing just cranks moisture out of the air at a rate that is, I mean, somewhat alarming. It's like it would just revert to like this dank dungeon, if left to its own devices.
Yeah, because there's no airflow in your most commonly in most basements. There's no airflow, right? You don't have windows that are open like you do upstairs, and most people's like HVAC just blows into their upstairs. They don't have it down at the floor level. It's just poor circulation. That's
no, it's definitely a problem.
Yeah, one of the things that I did learn about radon, which everybody should do their own opinion. I'm not giving any advice to anybody because somebody's going to write me and tell me about this. So radon came about roughly about the same time as nuclear reactors. Because what happened was people have radon in their basement. I'm sure I'm basking it in right now.
Yeah.
Because we live on granite, and so that's just how it is. So people, right, when they're building a nuclear reactor, they put the little tags on people, and then they make sure they don't get exposed at work to increased levels of radiation. Yep. Well, people at their house had radon in their basement, and those tags would trip when they would come back in. So immediately it was assumed that the radon in your basement was like killing you. Just you're done. The reality of it is that those tags were so sensitive, it got blown out of proportion that, hey, yes, people have radon in their basement. That I'm not saying they don't, but the level that it's there is not going to kill you. Trust me, you're going to die by either secondhand smoke, by the sun. Like if radon kills you, you've done something very, very wrong or very right maybe and lived your life like perfectly. Because there's much more carcinogens. Because you've lived so long
that radon was the thing that got you. Interesting.
Yeah.
My father was very sensitive about radon. We have a crazy radon thing in our house that actually runs off power, and you can watch the gauge, and it's in the garage for some reason. But he was really concerned about this. Like, apparently, or maybe just this part of Pennsylvania or something, is built on. I think it's limestone is what we have here.
Yeah.
And I guess it's a hotbed area for radon.
Right. And I'm not saying it's not a concern. Like it's definitely a thing. It's just the exposure.
Oh, no, I'm not sure it's a concern. I actually don't know. Because you hear from both sides. I mean,
the consensus is that, hey, yes, you do get exposed to it, but you get exposed to a lot worse stuff on a daily basis than the radon.
You have to get tested for this, don't you, when you buy a house? Like, isn't that like part of one of the things that has to happen?
Yep. And all a radon vent does is basically just circulates air. That it sucks because radon, what happens is it's heavier, it sinks, and you
want it to disperse into the atmosphere, basically.
Yep. Or into your neighbor's house if you don't like them.
Well, I will tell you, there's 90% of Pennsylvania is corn. And I'm sure most of it goes to feed for animals, but a
Yep.
lot of it goes to people as well. So I'm sure you're ingesting it.
Oh yeah,
somehow.
it's I mean, it's everywhere.
Yeah, it's just everywhere. Yeah.
I mean, you go walk outside, UV rays. What do you think that stuff is? It's not.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's whatever. As I'm sitting here smoking a cigar, drinking my whiskey, telling you radon's gonna be the thing that kills you. Like it's. I don't know. I'm looking. I don't know. Anyways, our roof is like happening in like 2 weeks. I don't even remember if we talked about this. I know you and I did, but I don't think on the air. I'm getting a new roof, folks. Buy a premium
So I think-
subscription.
I
What?
think the guy's coming today to inspect our roof, actually, for the hail thing.
Yeah. So interestingly, usually they told me. Well, I talked to the guy today. The scheduling guy is like, it's going to happen in 1 to 2 weeks. Like I have a small house. They said they can do the whole roof in a day. They bring out like 10 guys, do it. They're also doing some chimney work. But because unlike your location, it's been really sunny. Like we've gotten very little rain this summer. After June, like after June ended.
Oh no, it's rained here pretty steadily.
Like all of July was very dry. All of August has been relatively dry. And so they have gaps in their scheduling now because they plan for rainy days and whatever. And he's like, look, he's like, if you don't mind, we can call you 48 hours in advance and we'll just come out. Or you can pick a day now in October. I was like, it's like, I don't care.
We in our old house, how did this go down?
Hopefully with nails and glue.
Well, no, I'm trying to remember if it was 1 or 2 incidents, but we had, replaced the roof at one point, or like the shingling or whatever. And it's just, your basic, what do you call it? What are those things made of? It's like asphalt or something.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
that, whatever that material is. Cheap, But we had that huge damage during the 2015 winter with all of the ice, and it got inside the house and got in the walls, got in the windows, and huge problem. And I probably would have, I'm sure we discussed this at some point, but like when we moved, which was 2 years later, right? Yeah, 2 years later, 2 years ago, they did the house inspection and they came down from the attic and they were like, one of the beams up in the attic is broken. And that has to, it has to be fixed, obviously. And it was like a freaking huge, like a really thick, like, one of the cross pieces, like up on the roof. And very clearly it was the guys who were up on the roof in the winter. They were jumping around and somehow between the weight of the snow and those guys or whatever, they like broke a beam up there. And, turns out the people buying the house had a friend who was a contractor, so he was able to do it for cheaper than would have been normal. So we just, paid them that cost as part of the transaction. But I guess what I'm trying to say is, you work at home, so you'll be around when this happens. Just, pay attention to it.
I'm just going to sit in the attic and we'll just watch the beams.
Well, just listen. No. I mean, you'll hear them up there. I mean, it's crazy. Like they're like circus performers when they go up on the roof and do this stuff. It's amazing to watch, but I was just surprised by this. Like, it never even occurred to me that something like that could have happened.
Well, we will find out. We will find out here in the next couple weeks. That's, we'll see. All right. You got anything else for today, Mr. Paul?
I got nothing. Samsung Dex, I've been playing with that. I'll probably write that up today. I've got a Chromebook thing to write up. I've got Ask Paul to do. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Samsung Dex, short version, performance is not good.
And the Skype mic to fix.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I'll put it
All right, everybody. Hopefully you enjoyed this very in-depth conversation about shingles, roofing, radon, and a little bit about Windows history. We'll catch all of you back here on Monday. There we go. Who would have thought? There's a UK map. Radon up 5% in my area. Look at that. We're bringing radon knowledge to the world. Somebody's going to write me and tell me that radon killed their cat. And then I'm going to be like, well, I mean, I'm not disputing that radon's bad. It's just a little overblown.
My daughter leaves like a glass of water out and it's glowing like 2 days later.
You live in Springfield?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. The home of the three-eyed fish.
Oh, man. All right, everybody else in the chat room, thanks for hanging out. We'll catch everybody good weekends and all that good stuff.
Bye.
Later.